In this lesson, we're going to write ratios and proportions. We're also going to be solving them algebraically during the end. So what is a ratio? A ratio uses division to compare two quantities. So a ratio can be written three different ways. The most common one is a fraction. You can use the word to or a whole. A and B represent any number. Know that B, the second one, the second number is never going to be 0. You're going to read this a certain way. You can read it, the ratio of A to B. Or you can say A to B, either way. When writing ratios, you're always going to reduce it so it's in simplest form. And always use the order in which they say. So let's give it a try. At a car wash fundraiser, 18 9th grade students and 14 10th grade students work the first shift. So there they give you all the information that you need. Find the ratio of 9th grade students to 10th grade students. This right here tells me the order in which I should write my ratio. They want 9th graders first and 2nd graders second, or 10th graders second. 9th grade students, there are 18 of them, and there are 14 10th graders. I'm going to use the fraction to show my ratio. You can use the other methods if you'd like. This is not my final answer. I need to simplify. So I can take a 2 out of both of these. My final ratio of 9th graders to 10th graders. Okay, you're going to try the next one. You want to write a ratio of 9th grade students to all of the students. Go ahead and push pause and try that now. So there are 18 9th graders, and all students means I have to add 18 plus 14. So 18 plus 14 is 32. Again, make sure it was simplified, and we divide them both by 2, we get 9 over 16. 9 represents the 9th graders, and then the 16 represents all students. Okay, proportions. A proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equivalent. So a proportion is an equation. It's going to have an equal sign. It's going to state that two ratios are equivalent. So you're going to have ratios on both sides. Again, the variables represent any number, but B and D cannot be 0. They're going to ask you to solve proportions. And like I said before, you're going to be solving proportions using the algebraic method today. We're not going to use any other method. On the test, you're going to know other ways. W over 35 equals 4 over 7. Let's solve this proportion. I have two ratios on both sides. My goal is to find W. And in an equation, you want to find W, so you're going to bring everything else away. You're going to get rid of it. They're dividing, so I'm going to multiply. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this into a fraction. And I could multiply straight across. I could do 4 times 35 in the numerator, and then I could work with the denominator. I'm going to make this easier, though, and cross reduce. I'm going to take 7 out of both of these. So on the right side of the equation, I have 4 times 5. And then denominator 1 times 1, so it'd be over 1. 20 divided by 1 is 20. On the left side of the equal sign, I have W. I get W equals 20. Okay, you give it a try. 9 over 2 equals M over 12. Push pause and try that now. This time the variable's on the right side of the equation, so I want to get M by itself. I'm going to get rid of this 12. They're dividing, so I multiply. Again, I'm going to turn this into a fraction. And then you can multiply straight across and reduce at the end. I'm going to cross reduce, so I'm going to take a 2 out of both of these. 6 times 9 is 54. In the denominators, I would get 1. M equals 54. Let's take this a step further. oh, my bad. Let's do this one. 6 plus n over 60 equals 15 over 9. Okay, this proportion looks different because in this ratio you had an operation. We're still going to use algebra to solve this ratio. The variables on this side, so I need to move the 60 and the 6 away. So to do that, I'm going to do PEMDAS backwards. I'm going to start with the multiplication and division. I need to get rid of the 60 before I do anything in the numerator. So this says this value divided by 60. The opposite of dividing is multiply. Okay, I'm going to worry about cross-reducing over here. I'm going to take 30 out of both of these. Okay, so here I get 15 times 2, 3 times 1. This can be simplified a little further, so I'm still on the right side of the equal sign. 30 divided by 3 is 10. And I'm going to drop down everything I didn't use. I could write that here too. I didn't simplify anything on the left side. To get n by itself, I'd have to move 6. I look in the front. It's positive, so I'm going to subtract it. So I get n equals 4. Okay, your turn. I would like you to try 7 over 112 equals c minus 3 over 8. Go ahead and push pause and try that back. This time our variable's on the right side, so you're going to want to move these over to the other side. You want to get c by itself. Like I said before, do PEMDAS backwards. Start with multiplication and division. You have to get rid of this 8 before you can work up here. They're dividing this divided by 8, so I'm going to multiply. I'm going to cross-reduce. 8 goes into 112 14 times. 1 times 7. 1 times 14. I can reduce this left side a little bit. I'm going to reduce this to 1/2. And then I'm going to bring the 3 over right back. These are like terms because they both don't have a variable. So 3 plus 1/2 is 3 1/2. That would be my final answer. Okay. Let's move on to setting up proportions. So our next topic is setting up proportions. You do not have to write out this word problem. Maybe just write down the important information. A backpacker in the Sierras hikes 5.5 miles in 2 hours. If the hiking rate remains the same, how far will the backpacker hike in 7 hours? Write the proportion to find the answer. Okay, it's important when you're writing proportions that both proportions are in the same order. So I should have miles over hours on both sides. I can't have miles over hours on one side and then hours over miles on the other side. They have to be in the same order. I'm going to do miles per hour on both sides. So my first sentence says a backpacker in the Sierras hikes 5.5 miles in 2 hours. My other ratio also has to be miles over hours. If the hiking rate remains the same, how far will the backpacker hike in 7 hours? We're trying to find how far they go in 7 hours. Very important that you keep that order. It's not going to work. We're going to solve this algebraically. I want to get the x by itself on the right side. So they're dividing. We should multiply. There's no cross-reducing this time, so I'm going to multiply straight across. 7 times 5.5 is 38.5. 1 times 2 is 2. We're not done yet. You're going to want to get a 1 in the denominator, so you're going to want to divide this out. Right in your calculator, 38.5 divided by 2, and that's 19.25. 19.25 miles in 1 hour. Or they're just looking for 19.25 miles because that's what they're asking for. How far will the backpacker hike in 7 hours? So 19.25 miles in 7 hours. these are proportions. They're going to break them apart with the word as. This is your first ratio, this is your second ratio. The as is kind of your is. It's going to tell you to put it equal to. T is to 21, as 40 is to 28. Again, look at T is first, this goes here, this is second, this is first, this is second. You're going to use algebra to solve these. They're dividing, so I'm going to multiply. You can cross reduce by taking 7 out of both of these. So 40 times 3 is 120. I can simplify this side even further. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so 120 divided by 4 must be 30. Go ahead and try this last one. Go ahead and write this down in your notes and try it.